Chekhov, who is this man?
Criminal captain. A product of late 20th century genetic engineering.
What do you want with us? Sir, I demand to be...
You are in a position to demand nothing, sir. I, on the other hand, am in a position to grant nothing. What you see is all that remains of the ship's company and crew of the Botany Bay. Marooned here 15 years ago by Captain James D. Kirk. Never told you how the Enterprise picked up the Botany Bay, lost in space from the year 1996. Myself and the ship's company in cryogenic freeze.
I've never even met Admiral Kirk.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good.
This is episode 200. That's right. We finally made it. We finally made it.
What's that?
Episode 200. Holy cow. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight. This is episode 200, and tonight we're doing Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. We did a little contest.
Contest. I see what you did there.
Oh, I didn't even mean to. Contest. Well, we are we did a little contest, and I didn't mean to. That's great. And a good friend of the show, Jay Scott, won the little drawing, and so he has a $25 gift card heading towards him. Thank you very much for participating. But we are doing, his movie was chosen at random by Siri, and we are doing Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew Earworm Has a New Meaning Jimison.
Ooh.
Hey.
Oh,
It's a new meeting with the video going on here. Oh, love it.
So much better. Oh, the visual. Corny. Corny, Romulan ale is always used for medicinal purposes. Logan.
Hell yes.
As he has Newcastle ale. Sam will often quote Moby Dick to intimidate his students' Vector.
Sean, so you know, all phasers have been off of stun for quite some time with you.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that day where I just disintegrate into nothing, and then I'll know that was Sam. And holy crap, Chad, back from the dead and from his nap, Evans.
Whoa. What is...
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Ghost Chad.
Oh, Ghost Chad. Yeah, there's a ghost. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, I remember that being a movie, or wasn't that a TV show with
Holy
Bill
Ghost.
Cosby?
Holy Ghost.
Ghost Chad?
Oh, Ghost Chad. Yeah, it was
That's
really
right.
good.
Ghost
one with
Dad.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Ghost Dad.
Yeah. And
Ghost Chad.
Ghost Chad. And just in case you're wondering, who's Chad? He's the guy that does this.
The devil.
And said
It
this
was a
one.
different time.
There you go. I was about to say, silent. He doesn't talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
All things in capture.
That's right. So
pretty much you've not missed me at all. It's great.
No, of course we missed you.
Oh, we have.
We have missed
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Oh crap!
The levels of snark are way down. Like you just don't get it.
It's pretty much just
well,
Sam.
luckily I've made the snark. I put it in a little bottle.
Yeah.
And I've been fermenting the hell out of it.
We're gonna have ourselves a little snark NATO tonight, aren't we?
Oh,
Snark NATO. That's funny. Nice. Sorry, I'm continuously cracking up at the levels of product placement that Sam keeps.
Somebody is bound to give us money one of these days.
I'm sure of the people watching.
I snicker at the thought that we will earn some, maybe $100,000 for this.
Was it $100,000?
I like this game. I like this game. I'm in.
Oh man.
Oh man.
What's wrong, Chad?
Joy about this.
Oh, okay.
Doing this podcast with you guys has been a breeze. And,
Oh, you know what? It's actually a true skill for you guys. I wish I could do that thing that you're doing right now, and I just don't have it in me.
Yeah.
Sean, don't switch the subject.
Oh, he's gonna switch. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I just want to give out since we're doing some shout outs here, I just want to throw a great shout out to the great state of Kentucky.
Sean, can we please resolve this issue?
You actually have a can of Resolve nearby. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is getting. I don't have anything other than children's books within reach of me. Like,
I just think that this is a great value.
This podcast is a great value. Yeah.
Well,
we
better stop this, guys, because we don't want to incur the fire and fury from Sean on this podcast.
Here's the sad part, because
we're getting on to Sean. I think you bring the Jim Beam of light.
Oh my gosh. This is without a doubt the best intro we have ever done. Oh my gosh. And here's the thing, literally, you
What's
guys
the matter,
are
Sean?
doing.
Are you getting mad?
What is that? 012? What is that? 12?
No, I'm looking for shit.
15.
Oh,
I know. I'm looking around.
and it's funny. We're doing the usual suspects, right? Gag right now, and literally the only thing I have is Yamaha, Shure, and I got nothing. Apple products.
Go to Arizona and pick something up. I'm not quite sure.
I got nothing.
Wait, what are we watching again? What did we watch? Payday?
Oh, nice. Back to the. Oh my goodness! So, in case you actually are wondering, in her what we actually did, or what in fact Star Trek: Wrath of Khan is, Andrew is here to tell you what it is.
Yes, I am. In just a moment.
Professional folks.
Right now.
No, we're
Episode 100 for Andrew, and he's
Oh, you can't. Nice.
am I supposed to do this everything? Okay.
yeah.
With the assistance of the Enterprise crew, Admiral Kirk must stop an old nemesis, Khan, from using the life-generating Genesis device as the ultimate weapon.
Okay, that's more or less what happened.
There you go.
So yeah, I'll start the show off as I do often with most of our shows and ask who here has seen it. I'm pretty sure everyone but Sam had seen this, right?
You forced me to watch this thing a few years ago.
No, I didn't. I did?
Yeah, in the blue basement. Yeah.
Oh, we did? We watched this in the basement?
Yep.
I have no memory of that, but okay.
Yeah, I kind of forget it too, but yeah.
Do what, Chad?
The earwig had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
Maybe.
Well, I'm glad that I forced you to watch a great film. So we'll do our normal thing here where we kind of do our initial thoughts. So Andrew, and you know what? I wish I could move Chad's window from left to right because you guys are in order on my screen except for Chad screwing things up. So Andrew, if you would, sir, your initial thoughts, sir.
Yeah.
If I could.
I'm not a
No, I can't.
Trekkie by any means. However, I've seen all the Star Trek movies. They were on a while back streaming, pretty much all of them. So I just watched them sequentially. And
all the even ones, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So out of all of them, though, this one to me, I think is probably the best. I really enjoy it. And as I mentioned off air, I think this movie holds up still. I mean, there's one moment, and I'm sure we'll get to it, where I see an exit sign above the doors.
Hey,
But
it's ADA compliant.
Yeah,
it
they're
is.
just following the
It
rules.
is.
Yeah.
But other than that little thing, I didn't really see much that would take me out of the film and date it too much. And they were very clever with using antiques that he was collecting.
Right.
That, you know, we had.
His hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had an excuse for having these things. So I liked it. I think that the story's good. I think the acting was pretty good. There's a few things here and there that I have issue with, but not a whole lot.
Okay, cool. I'm actually going to do this in order for my screen because it just makes it easier. Chad.
You know, I really appreciated this film, and I mean, I think this is the film that really got me into watching Star Trek. As far as, you know, going back into the series and then keeping up with Next Generation, so forth and so on. And then Babylon 5, and then the other Star Treks.
I'm sorry, Black.
I'm not going to say anything. I know you're trying to push a button. You're fine.
So, my favorite, I mean, there are so many parts of this movie that just kind of, have been seared into your brain, or at least in my mind, at least from a young age when I saw this the first time. The biggest thing that, and I know that we're going to touch on this first, is the funeral scene for someone that we're going to talk about later. Spoilers.
It's a 35-year-old movie. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, yeah.
Came out the year I was born. Yeah. And Corny and Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Sam was already 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was still a sperm.
Actually, I don't even think that's true.
But I was the fastest one.
Yeah, you were.
You won something. Good for you.
The only race you've ever won.
That is true.
So anyway, like, there are so many of those things that just kind of stick out in your mind and stick with you. The biggest one that stuck with me was the earwig scene. That was, I mean, I think I actually was scarred by that. But anyway, I really liked the film. I thought it was great.
And Chad, to be fair, it only bothered you because when you were a kid, you didn't quite realize that giant ear was a 4-foot-tall wax statue with a, you know, gooey gummy worm being pulled on a string. Like, you didn't know that at the time, but
Oh, no.
yeah, that's what it was. And when you know that, kind of watching it, it's like, oh, it's not that scary. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, Corny.
Very descriptive.
I gave it 2 phasers up.
We're not to that point, Chad. I know it's been a while, but we're not there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right. Corny.
They're named Stun and Kill.
I appreciate the one that's got your wedding band on it as Stun and not Kill.
That's my left hand.
Yeah, I know that, Chad. Corny, go ahead.
Can you imagine every week being this?
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, Sean would die.
Yes, he would.
Speaking of Sean.
No, I'm great. This is great.
If you are his friend, I imagine you have watched this movie with or without your own permission. But actually, I think I've seen this a couple times prior to. I think we've seen it at least once or twice together. And it's one of those, you know, we started the movie and I'm like, oh, I've seen it. You know, or, you know, I'm just kind of watching the movie to refresh my memory. But when you get towards the end, and for a brief moment, I was like, oh, I remember how emotionally draining this part is. And I was like, oh, my heart beat like once, and it was weird. And then I realized that it was just because I'm clogged with all the grease that I eat. But no, I forgot how much I enjoyed this movie. So it was actually, in terms of things that we could have watched, this is actually really fun to have gone back through and watch the cleverness of James T. Kirk, and to kind of compare this movie to the newer Star Treks where they make reference to the Kobayashi Maru. So.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the new Star Treks, just so we can get that out of the way.
Oh yeah, thanks for the lens flare.
Nice. Lens flare. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
There you go.
Just
Appreciate
thought I'd
that.
throw that out
So
there.
nice little lens flare.
Yeah.
Nice.
A little
Can we
late,
do a
Sam.
can we do a little Michael Bay where we're like turning around and
Oh yeah. I wish I could.
There you go.
Yeah, I could have the camera real low and then spin around me as I stand up from something. Sure.
they got my sister, man. Wrong
I got a big dice.
Bad boys for life. I didn't know where you were going with that until you put it on screen.
I was a little confused.
I
there.
got
like
big
saying-
dice and I cannot lie.
You do realize that you just literally did the "I saw a cat at the bus stop," right? Like, it doesn't get more literal than that.
All right, Samuel, go.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be brutally honest on this. I think it does hold up well for a movie made in the '60s. That the effects and the of course the ages of everybody involved. Even though Kirk looked pretty old in this, and Doc McStuffins was really wrinkly. I think it did very well for what it was trying to do. My problem is I'm not that big of a Star Trek fan. I've always been on the Star Wars side of things, which is why I like the newer ones. A little more action adventure, but the recent one was really kind of bad. We gotta admit.
No, we don't admit, because that's the one you and I disagree on. Because
Yes.
you liked Into Darkness better, and I thought that the Star Trek Beyond was the best of the trilogy. So
Yeah, well, I like what they were trying to do because it was an extended. But anyway, we're not talking about that one.
Sure.
Wait, there's a third one?
Yeah, there's a third one.
yeah,
They tried to make it like an old episode, is what it was. It was more exploratory than it was the whole world is in peril type of thing.
right.
So, this movie is okay. It's nothing, I know it's Sean's favorite, but I don't need to see it again type of thing. I get annoyed by Doc McStuffins a lot in this movie. I don't know if it's overacting or is that just his character, Sean? I'm not sure.
I don't know what you mean by what annoys you. I mean, if you can give me something specific, then I can say.
I can't remember when it was the conversation, but he keeps yelling at not Chewbacca.
Spock?
The hell?
Pointy-eared guy.
Spock.
The pointy-eared guy.
I've
Spock,
said
thank you.
Spock three times, yeah.
Chewbacca?
He's yelling at Spock. He's yelling at Spock and calling him inhuman or whatever he was doing, and it just seemed like he was overacting quite a bit.
But that's the character. That is the character. I mean, that's what McCoy does. I mean, I mean, what's his name did it in the new ones. Judge Dredd did it in the new ones. You know, he kept you green-blooded Vulcan, blah blah blah. That's just what he is.
Yeah, it just didn't seem warranted to be that all of a sudden be so.
Well, but you don't
That's
have 2 seasons of Star Trek where the two of them are sparring back and forth all the time.
Well, and that's the problem. I didn't watch the series. I'm watching a movie that should stand alone, and the whole Khan story. Even though they tell you what happened, it's still like, why do we care about Mr. Manchest over there? Why is it that he's so pissed? He never really gets a good wrath going in this thing. Now, provided he's supposed to be like the smartest man in the universe or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet he keeps making stupid decisions after stupid decisions to keep going after the Enterprise, and even when he could escape and come back later.
I think that's on the advice, though, of his small helper tattoo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Plane, boss. The Enterprise, boss.
The Enterprise.
Yeah. So
I don't listen to your number 2.
I did not buy that he was that smart. I couldn't. I could see that he's strong because he's been genetically engineered, and is able to put ear things in people, and use that to his advantage. But you kind of saw the twist coming in this thing. And I was, even the first time around, I wasn't all that surprised that, when the earwig people turned, why they turned, that they were going to, curse the sudden
inevitable betrayal,
inevitable betrayal
right.
type of thing. Yeah. I didn't get emotional with the whole Spock thing, and I think that's because I never watched the show. The friendship.
It doesn't
come
have any
through the individual movie.
Well, it doesn't have meaning for you. I mean, imagine if you had watched The Force Awakens first. Then the scene with Han means nothing to you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. But did you know, this is the second movie in the Star Trek movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did the first movie explore friendship between those two?
Well, yeah, as much as it can. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
I've almost forgotten about that movie altogether.
Yeah, most people
I don't know. It was supposed to be really bad, right?
Yeah, it's awful. That movie almost killed the franchise. It was so bad.
The TV show as well?
No, what do you mean the TV show? No, I'm just saying
the franchise.
No, yeah, like the whole franchise. Like, well, because so the motion picture is a little history. The motion picture was supposed to be the next turn of the series. It was going to be called Star Trek Phase 2. And then Star Wars comes out, and they're like, oh, people want to go see space movies. Let's make a space movie instead of a series. And so they changed. So that's why the first movie feels like a big, long, dumb episode, because that's kind of what it was. And it was so bad that they cut the budget for this movie in a third, because they were ready to end it. Paramount was ready to kind of be like, okay. And then it made such a good movie. They're like, oh, okay, we need to change some things to make it have hope for Spock so that we can keep going with this thing.
Okay.
So
yeah,
but I mean, again, as an outsider, I get what you're saying with the friendship part, because it's you don't have years of this friendship.
Yeah.
You don't have years, you now have hours.
Instead of hours, you now have minutes. Yeah.
So it was hard for me. It was a little hard to get into, and it was kind of, I hate to say, slow and long, in my opinion.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Wait.
It still fits. I mean,
I didn't want to acknowledge it. So yeah, that's pretty much my take.
I also just want to go out on. I just want to go on record here saying that I was invited. So.
Yeah. You were dragged out of bed.
That's true.
Yes.
What do you mean? What do you mean out of bed?
Well,
I'm
you're
here.
still in the bed. Yeah, we know that. You were just awoken up.
You turned over.
Yeah.
Poor Megan.
Oh yeah.
Probably Jennifer's in his bed. He's been made renew.
Okay, so Sean, tell us about your favorite movie.
Well, it's not my favorite. Admittedly,
second favorite.
It's yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Your middling movie.
Even when we did like our top 10, I still have a hard time between this one and Star Trek 6, which we have done for the podcast. I sometimes feel that Star Trek, this one, 2, is the better film than 6, but I like 6 more. And it's like the same argument is, I think, Empire Strikes Back is the best film, but sometimes I'd rather just watch dumb Ewoks and Jedi, So Return of the Jedi, obviously we have to differentiate now. We can't just say Jedi anymore. The Return of the Jedi.
Dumb Jedi.
So, not blue milk drinking Jedi. That one.
Yes.
So anyway, but yes, this is one of not my, again, top 3 movies of all time. I've probably seen this movie more times than I've seen any other film, with maybe Die Hard as a close second. And I mean, we're talking like literally like 30 plus times I've seen this movie. And I do love it, and I love Star Trek. Again, I'm a Trek fan over Star Wars, but I do love Star Wars.
You can be both. I will give you that.
You can love both. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and Sam even admitted he likes the new Trek because it is a little flashy. It's a little more action oriented. And this is what drives me kind of crazy. And if any Trek fan is listening, I'm talking to you. When I hear Trek fans,
we're gonna find you. We're gonna kick you. Oh, sorry.
When Trek fans complain like the new Star Trek movies are too much like Star Wars, there's too much action, you do realize that the movie you claim is the best of all of them is nothing but a revenge movie, right? It's an action flick that adds in other cool layers like Kirk finding his son, the concept of getting old and getting left behind. So there's other layers that are in the film, but at its core, it's a Moby Dick revenge film, right? And I don't really know what Star Trek fans want, but with that having been said, yes, I love this movie. I enjoyed it. Now, I will admit, watching it this time for the podcast, I did what I do. I put on my CSR patent pending glasses and tried to critique the movie as best I could. I noticed the exit sign for some reason this time. It didn't bother me because I just assumed that people in the 23rd century still need to know where the exit is. That didn't bother me. I did notice...
One would think that society would have gotten past the need for exit signs.
Yeah,
or at least had some continuity to have them more than just at his apartment door.
Or wherever that was outside the simulator place. Yeah. I mean, whatever. I did notice this one for the first time this time is that when they're doing the Kobayashi Maru simulator bridge thing, there is a no smoking sign on the back wall. And when I was doing research on the movie, Gene Roddenberry he removed it literally one set and pulled it off because, in his opinion, by the 23rd century, people don't smoke anymore. We would have gotten rid of that concept. I just thought that was kind of funny that there was a no smoking sign on the bridge of the Enterprise or the fake.
It should have been no vaping. They should go back and
yeah,
give it the no vaping treatment.
Yeah, retcon it. No smoking or vaping and then just add a third one that we don't know what it is yet, and because we don't know what the next thing is. No
triple shooting or something
don't inhale tribbles or something like that. No triple snuffing. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No Tide Pod eating.
Triple snuffer?
No Tide Pod eating.
Yeah, no Tide Pod. Yeah. So anyway, so I don't really know where to go with this because again, my notes are going to be very little help to me because I didn't take very many as per usual when there's a film that I love too much. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about real quick before I go into what little few notes I have. Great.
Actually, quick question.
Yeah.
Start on Multibond. Was this chest spray painted on?
Totally his. Well, there might have been some airbrushing, but it was his chest.
That makes no sense. Every time I see that, I'm just like, why? Why is it?
He's a beastly man. And apparently
he looks like an action figure from the 80s.
He kind of does. Look like an action figure.
He really does.
Throw a He-Man harness on him and
yeah, he kind of looks like Beast Man.
Yeah. And that hair was a little ridiculous too. I mean, someone was saying that the movie doesn't really have a date and time. The hair, his hair, yeah, the David Bowie kind of thing happened. It does kind of make it. It does kind of date the film a little bit. And I know Sam was making fun of the special effects. This is the same company that did Star Wars. So if you make fun of this, you're making fun of Star Wars. And in fact, a lot of what they did for this movie helped them in Return of the Jedi. So just saying.
They must have had the B team in on this.
No, this was Industrial Light. What does that sound like?
Just being a minor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do it minor. Yeah.
Then we return back to the A theme, and then
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Genesis, the video that they did for the Genesis project, whatever, that was the first time in film history that we had a completely rendered CGI thing on screen. So that was kind of a cool moment in film history for the movie.
That's a moment in film history.
That's right. I don't know.
Brought to you by Every Day with Rachel Ray.
Do you literally have your wife just handing you crap?
Coming to newsstands near you from last October.
Well, at least you're current. Oh
Oh
my gosh, that's funny. Anyway, so
And now everybody's searching for things.
Let's see what I got here.
I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, again, I'm in. This is mostly
I'm
Sarah's.
playing this game.
Oh, I got drugs.
I got drugs. Oh, sweet heroin.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Sorry, there's medicine sitting beside my desk. I was like, oh, I guess I should promote drugs.
It's clean-on aphrodisiacs. No.
Okay, it's this. I'm sorry, I'm ashamed.
That is a drug. That is a controlled substance in North Carolina.
Yeah, you can certainly.
They will not give you more than you need.
That's right. You have to get a prescription.
You must be going to the wrong place because I get what I want.
I got what you need.
Well, you're kind of scary too.
So
yeah, I pull the con method. I grab somebody's shirt. You give me that damn salt.
Right. Just pick them up. I will put some weird thing in your ear if you don't give me some more Chick-fil-A sauce.
Maybe that's what it's in his ear.
Ooh.
There was something oozing out of there.
Barbecue.
So I did write, one of my first notes is, so we do have a trope, right? Starting episode 201, I'll make a noise for a trope. But they had, it's the movie starts off with a test. It's all fake. It's a test trope. We've seen that a dozen or so times in movies. But what I had to laugh is like, we're like, so Kirk goes to the bridge crew beforehand and says, okay, it's a test. You have to pretend it's a test or pretend it's real. So when your console explodes, you have to pretend to die in a very over the top, dying thing. Like, is that what happened beforehand? I've always kind of wondered that.
The old crew has to go, wait, like whenever we're in battle? Like that kind of thing? Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, just like that. But, just be super over the top. Okay, and then they do, so.
Did you ever watch the 60s series?
Me? Yeah.
The originals?
Okay. Yeah, the originals. I mean, that's every time something exploded, that's what happened every time.
Well, my favorite is when you watch the Next Gen, and you can find it on YouTube where they take shaky cam out. And so they're all just sitting there and it's going, and they're all like, time to die. Because, they couldn't build a bridge on a gimbal. It's TV. You got to keep it cheap. So they had to pretend, and I think this stuff's great. I love it. Love it. But then when they did the first Next Gen movie and they were able to put the bridge on a gimbal, like everyone was freaking out because the bridge was moving while there was action scenes happening, and they weren't used to that. It's pretty funny.
I think Michael Dorn was probably like, "What is this shit?"
Right. And it is interesting to think that this crew, this cast, made 6 movies, and in all honesty, only one of them really is a I'm going to use air quotes for visual, movie star, right?
Oh, we can do stuff now. That's right. We're live.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're doing video. Like, really, William Shatner's the only, quote, movie star. Everyone else, this was their career. And you don't get very often where you get a movie series, 6 films, with guys who are just TV guys. The new movies, they're all cast by big movie stars. Or big-ish. Zachary Quinto is kind of like...
Yeah, they're not going to go to TV and have a Star Trek TV show.
Yeah, these guys aren't. No, you're not going to lock up Chris Pine for a 3-season thing. No, he's too busy doing really great films like A Wrinkle in Time or whatever, and Wonder Woman and whatnot. So these are great.
That one.
Steve Trevor.
Right, Steve Trevor. Yeah. Well, he's done some other good stuff. I can't think of it right now, but he has. And then you got Zoe Saldana, who's busy doing Avatar 2 and 3, and so they're busy.
Isn't
cast.
she also in the Guardians?
Yeah, she's in Guardians. You're right. She's going to be in Infinity War coming up real soon. Mm-hmm. So a lot of cool crossover. And of course, the joke has always been, why do they have to put explosive charges under the desks in their consoles? That's always been a Trek thing. I don't know why they do it, but they do. It's just always seems.
It always reminds me of those like a can that you open and the snake pops out.
Right.
It reminds me of that for some reason.
It's like, okay, I'm working at this desk. When is it going to explode on me? Like, I get the idea. Right. Yeah. You push the wrong series of buttons.
Poor red shirt sitting there. Hey, yeah, sit over at that panel. I don't want to.
Why is there
No, this is fine.
why is there scorch marks all over this one? No reason. You're fine.
No, Kevin's gone. We replaced him. You're here now.
Scotty, did you put the C4 wiring back in? Good? Okay, we're good. Wait, C4 what? Nothing. It's just what it's called. It's fine. It's very safe. Yeah. Hey, but even the new Star Trek does it. Discovery. Even they do exploding panels in battle. It's just very, I don't know why.
There's no fire in space.
It's, well, not in space, but it's in the ship. Of course, the Death Star explodes in a fireball.
Yeah. But that's because at the very core of the Death Star, there is enough power.
Put your glasses up, Sam. Put your glasses up.
Yeah. See here? It's like exploding a star because of the chemicals and the elements that make up the center of the Death Star will explode outwards like a supernova.
You could just your accent
explode as a supernova and explode in 360 degrees as opposed to like a set of rings.
Well, you have to understand that the Death Star had weak spots, not just the air vent. But if you notice, it's kind of like when you put two cubes together. What's in the middle?
I don't know.
Why can you turn two sides of a spear? Because the center area is a weak spot. So when it explodes, what does it do? It pushes both halves outward. So where will the force go? Right there in the middle.
In you and in me and in everything. That's where the force goes.
The force. It goes into
does penetrate us.
It goes into microscopic bacteria.
It penetrates every orifice of your body.
Yeah.
Finds us.
You cannot stop it.
You cannot stop the force. Oh wait, no, it's the signal. Sam, that was great. Your accent, by the way, went from 1920s gangster and ended with 1994 Valley Girl. It's because of the center, okay?
You're very lucky I didn't bring in Ben.
No, we're all very lucky you didn't bring in Ben.
And old listeners of the podcast would know that Ben is very smart when it comes to
oh God,
physics.
Please no.
Yeah.
And now speaking of exploding things, so I'm just gonna have that right there, and we're gonna talk about this Genesis effect.
Okay.
I have right here in my hands.
Oh.
Or spirit bomb, whichever one you want to call it.
Yeah,
Oh, spirit bomb.
Yeah.
Wait, let's call it that.
Yeah, it's gonna take
What
you.
were we talking about?
No, but you needed to start charging that at about episode 194.
Well, where do you think I've been?
Oh, charging up your spirit bomb. No. That's why you were napping before the show, because it was so strenuous on your body.
Krillin was holding it.
Earth, lend me your pillow.
Only thing he could do.
Right.
Hey guys, I decided to come and see you. I figured up for the 200th episode, I'd come and talk to you. Oh, hold on, I'm disappearing. I'm coming to talk to you about how stupid the Genesis idea is. You see, to make matter out of nothing and life out of nothing is against the Star Trek way. See, I'm nodding.
You're nodding. Okay.
Oh, hey, Ben. It's great to have you at the house. Yo, you're welcome, Sam. It's great to be here with you all on the 200th episode.
I wish I'd never even mentioned that. This early.
See, Sean, I'm looking into your soul, matey.
Well, if it makes you feel any...
Is he a pirate now?
Oh, wait. Who is this? Who just showed up? Why, it's Roy McElroy.
Boy,
Good day, mate.
This is a... Why do they all sound the same?
Oh, Lord.
Your Ben turned into a pirate, by the way.
Oh, man. If we could only get the Angry Scotsman to call in any now, again, that would be great. I wonder if he's probably still in jail over there somewhere. So.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't listen to the show anymore. It's fine.
Yeah, not anymore.
They won't let him.
Yep.
Did you actually want to talk about the Genesis thing as a thing, or are you're just throwing a?
I thought. Well, I will say that I thought it was a little. I don't know.
Too movie magic.
Yeah, for Star Trek, you always think they're grounded in some sort of reality. You know, in Star Wars, you know, you can use the power of the sun to kill planets.
Right.
But in Star Trek, you always kind of expect them to be
more
smarter,
a little more
about
science-based.
more refined. Yeah. And I thought the whole idea of a machine that creates life in a matter of minutes, or it creates these, it was like a planet at the very end, right? The whole planet was created by Genesis.
Well, it wasn't created.
That part I didn't understand.
Well, okay, hang in there. So the planet itself was Regula, the big rock, right?
Okay.
So the effect, here's truly the bad science behind it, honestly, I think, is not that the torpedo can create a thing that can engulf a planet and then erase what's
in a
there.
matter of seconds.
Yeah, in matter of minutes or seconds. We don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Quickly erase what's there and then overwrite it like a CDR or CDRW.
Hey, kids don't know what that is, Sean.
Erase your hard drive and then rewrite it on a hard drive.
There you go.
Kids don't listen to this show anyway.
Nobody listens to this show.
That's true.
I think he's tearing up.
It's small. He does not understand.
One hand. That you could create a new planet, right? So I'm okay with that. I've never had a problem with that, and maybe it's just because I'm like, hey, Star Trek, whatever, blah blah blah, right? Whatever. They did worse in Star Trek Into Darkness when they were like, just take Khan's blood and we've cured death. So
yeah.
I mean,
They should have just left that hanging. They did in this movie, right?
That's what she said.
So.
Well, yeah, do what this movie did, which was imply that something was going to happen with Mr. Pointy Ears.
Right.
It's not Chewbacca.
I don't
Spock
understand how you are as old as you are and you can't remember the name Spock.
I don't know why I can't remember Spock.
Like Dr. Spock, like I'm sure your parents probably implemented his teachings on you at some point.
No, I don't think I was raised.
You were just poofed into existence at about 32 years old.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I've been, yeah.
But anyway, the part that actually kind of annoyed me a little bit, and then today's showing, that's not a word. What is the word? But wrong word. Showing is that, you know, they show the planet, right? And again, it's Regula. So it's that asteroid rock thing. It's now a planet. But now there's a sun. It created a sun somehow. And
see, because when two people love each other, or they adopt.
Wait, wasn't the sun was already there?
Where?
It had to have been.
Yeah, I think the sun was already there.
Where?
Yeah,
it was just an angle that they were showing.
Oh, yeah, because the planet changes and there's a sun in the background.
Yeah, I mean, like now there's a rising sun on the planet. I mean,
that's to symbolize the rebirth of the planet, and then by proxy,
Michael Bay.
Spock.
I get the symbolism of what's actually happening. What I'm saying is that in order for that planet to have a sun, because the camera eventually goes onto the planet and there's a sun there, because clearly it's Earth. But you know what I'm saying, there's a sun. There had to have been a star nearby enough for this to work, and you never, of course, see one. The only thing that I could ever think of is that the nebula that they're in, for those who took Astronomy 1 and 2, Corny, I'm talking to you, who took Astronomy 1 and 2.
I took it. I mean,
I know you don't remember anything. Yeah, you hung out with Sarah the whole time.
I did. I did.
And that was a nebula is just a dead star, and somehow the explosion kickstarted the star back up. That's the only thing I could think of.
They took this train thing, they dug to the center of the sun, and then detonated it to start the sun back up.
Oh, is that what they did?
Now, I'm confused about the nebula. Did the nebula like disable electronic stuff?
Yeah. They say in the movie it will disable shields and view screens and.
Oh, okay, so that's why they were flying blind.
Yeah. The idea is that so Nicholas Meyer, the director, has sort of not really a military background, but he envisioned this to be more militaristic. That's why the uniforms look like military uniforms. They use.
I don't know. Kurt looked like a magician.
Magician, really interesting. Never thought of that.
Well, he is a magician.
He can. Well,
Because every time he's on screen, it's magic.
Right. And Scotty is the miracle worker, so. Yeah. But that's why they use, they say I captain, and like they went more of a nautical theme, and so the whole ending battle is supposed to be like sub warfare, right? Where they're going down and coming up and shooting torpedoes at each other and things like that. Yeah, it's very much like sub warfare, and that's why the first engagement they broadside each other. It's like ships, right? It was a broadside kind of a concept. So he took a lot of the themes and incorporated into Star Trek that are naval that stuck through the series forever. Because of this movie, which is really interesting, I think. So, but in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, spoiler, they find him. And the concept is, and here you go, Sam, you want to get some weird science here? The idea,
weird science.
Weird science.
There you go. The idea is that whatever the science behind the Genesis torpedo effect, whatever, reanimates his body, but not just reanimates him and turns him into a child, and he grows back into Spock. And then the planet explodes, and they have to get him off and save the day. And Christopher...
Whoa. It turned into a way different movie than I thought.
And Christopher Lloyd is the bad guy.
Marty!
Yeah.
Marty, we gotta get this Kirk!
That's actually pretty close to
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway.
Well, we're going. We don't.
And then they end up singing. What do they end up singing?
Row your boat by the campfire.
They can't, and Spock doesn't understand how to sing and around.
I will say this, Sam. At some point, if the Trek movies get all back onto Netflix or Amazon, we're gonna do Star Trek 5. Because that is the worst Trek film. And
the one with the whales?
What does God need with a spaceship?
Yeah, it's the best line of the whole movie. No, that's not the one with the whales. It's the one after that. But it's so awful. It's the one William Shatner directed.
What about the whales?
Like
we could use whales.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Galaxy Quest is a better Trek film than that. You know what I'm saying? And it's anyway. Some of my other fun little notes was interesting that they still have Boy Scouts. He makes reference to that overgrown Boy Scout. We have Boy Scouts still in the 23rd century. That's kind of a cool idea.
Well, they've been around for a while. I mean, they sell all those cookies. Oh, wait.
Wrong Boy Scouts, Chad.
Oh, speaking of, didn't get in this year.
I think they're still there.
Yeah, they're all over.
Oh, those caramel delights. Oh, those are so good.
I need them.
They're
all over in this old house. On newsstands coming soon.
In October. You got the super convenient fact that when Chekhov and Terrell showed up, the entire crew decided to take a leisurely walk in the awful desert for whatever reason. That was kind of a convenient thing, but
how convenient.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. And Sam, I do have to ask, since again you're the new guy to this, if the name Dr. Carol Marcus sounded familiar. The blonde hot chick from Star Trek Into Darkness. That's
the one with the gratuitous underwear scene.
Yeah, that's the same girl, lady. So
she's not this old. She was like 20-something in the new movie.
Okay, she's not the same
that
actress.
That is amazing what they can do in Hollywood nowadays.
I know, right? Yeah, they took her and really made her look good. No. Made her get naked on screen for whatever weird reason, JJ.
It certainly isn't dressing up a pig now at Home Depot.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, let's see. I also thought it was interesting that McCoy says, according to myth, the Earth was created in 6 days. Not really.
Oh, they know something we don't.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, of course.
Well, we're not going to get into that.
Well, Gene Roddenberry's future, religion isn't the thing. We've come to realize that science is the thing, and that we don't have religion. So, on Earth, there's still other planets that have religion, but we don't.
He's a heathen
for whatever reason. So, I did kind of joke that the concept of the prefix code is basically a Wi-Fi password for a starship.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to comment.
I agree.
Just the idea that any ship who just happens to know that can screw everything up, I think is a really poor idea.
It really is a bad idea.
Well, no, the idea is that like all the Federation ships have this thing, right? So that in case another Federation ship is captured, like this one was, you can disable it. It actually kind of makes sense as if in a military concept. I mean, if we had the technology now where an enemy has hijacked one of our drones, we should better send a kill command. Then let's do that.
If you shoot it down, that would be the.
Or you can just send a command and have it, come back home or drop.
Like Command Q.
Right. Yeah. Command Q. Yeah.
All right. I'm doing
Sean,
it now.
Can I just
hit Command Q on your computer? See what happens.
I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it now. I don't know what you'll do on your PC, but obviously it will end the podcast if I do it. So, I guess which computer I do it on. I guess if I do it on this computer, I just
smile from Chad says no. Do it.
What else did I write? I did like.
I'm using a Mac, so yes, it would have actually.
Oh, you are using your Mac. Well, then yeah, it would have killed Google, I guess. If that's
what it's designed to do.
I always thought it was a super inefficient way to load torpedoes one at a time from the ceiling down. I've always thought that.
Hey guys, could we just shove these in the tube? No. Lower the winch. It's fine.
It just seems super inefficient. I don't know.
It's like a can. I mean, I guess going back to the whole naval thing, it's more like loading a cannonball.
Yeah, it is, and it's a cool scene, and that's the way I did it. The camera comes in, and then the camera goes back out with it. I mean, it's a cool scene, and it allows you to assemble the crew for burials of things,
Torpedoes assemble.
Right.
Dun.
But you would think all of that would be automatic.
Yeah.
In the 23rd century.
Yeah, and they changed it a little bit. Like the only time we see the torpedoes again is in Star Trek VI, and it's like McCoy and Spock are working on the torpedo, and it's like just a little catwalk. Like it kind of makes sense. Like it probably is on a conveyor belt
on the catwalk.
On the catwalk.
Is that the one they put a heat seeker? They put a heat seeker in it, right?
Sort of. They put an exhaust seeker in it.
A heat seeker.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Sure. Why not? Heat seeker.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, if space. I mean, whatever has got heat, I guess it'll go towards. There's the scene. I did notice there's like a little J.J. Abrams moment when the Enterprise comes up from behind. Reliant. It kind of up from the bottom. I'm like, if it only came from the cloud, it would be a J.J. Abrams kind of thing.
I know that we're not really comparing the two movies, but I did notice that, or I did get an appreciation for Giacchino for the music in these newer ones, because I noticed a lot of little themes that he took from this original score and I think improved for these newer films.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, normally I do score later, but what did you guys think of the soundtrack? It's James Horner, and this was a 28-year-old James Horner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could tell there was some talent.
Oh, it's so good.
It was there.
Yeah, it's really good.
It still should be there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's real sad that he passed away. And I love the score. Of course, I own it, and it's great. It's really good. And basically, they're like, okay, because this is 1982, right? So they're like 1 year away from Return of the Jedi. So they basically are like, we need you to do something like what John Williams is doing, but don't make it sound like John Williams. So, yeah. Anyway, and then my last note was because of this movie, I can't hear bagpipes playing Amazing Grace without getting emotional every time.
I generally think of other dead people first.
Yeah. Well, it's not because of Spock. It's because of the setting, like bagpipes in Amazing Grace means funeral. Mm-hmm. Like regardless of this was the first moment of that for me. And then when I would go to funerals of friends and colleagues who have passed away and relatives, and then you hear it, it just like enforces that bagpipes in Amazing Grace means, usually a dead officer, a cop, or a soldier or something. So
When I die, I want them to play Amazing Grace on the bagpipes, but it has to be that guy riding the unicycle and the flaming bagpipes.
So, Andrew, we're gonna go ahead and book you now for next week.
Okay.
Yeah. It's coming soon.
wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know Andrew could play the bagpipes.
Well, I mean, he is.
Well, I can, but I can't ride a unicycle. So I got to get out.
We can teach you that. It's fine.
We'll get you.
And it's pretty cool that James Doohan, the guy who played Scotty, could play bagpipes with only 9 fingers.
Well, you don't need all fingers for the canter there on a bagpipe.
Oh, well,
Don't you just squeeze it?
Well, no, there's still notes you gotta play.
The whole. I've actually played a bagpipe before, and there's only so many holes.
You didn't breathe it in while burning something inside, did you, Chad?
No, that was a different time.
Ooh.
Different bagpipe. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yes, that's what the kids are calling it now. Oh, you smoking the old bagpipe? Yeah.
Yeah.
The old crazy lettuce.
Gosh. Anyway, James Doohan is a World War II veteran. He was a D-Day survivor. So he stormed the beaches with D-Day and had his middle finger blown off. And he was very conscious about it and never, to the best that he could, never let it shown on TV. So
that would have made playing the bagpipes extremely difficult.
Well, he also wasn't playing the bagpipes. He didn't have the bag filled with air. He's just faking it. But
is that why he had the terrible
information?
Oh. Okay, Chad, I'm going to need you to move your microphone about 6 inches away from your mouth because that's.
I totally didn't understand what you said.
Yeah, I think we just had a endoscopy.
Oh my God.
With your
I'm pretty sure Facebook just kicked us off.
This is new information.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, Chad. I didn't mean to wreck Star Trek for you by telling you that.
I think that was sarcasm, by the way.
I know. Tropes.
Sarcasm.
The other tropes I wrote were we're the only ship in the area. Oh crap! I gotta cue my phone up. We also had something else. We also had
a montage.
We
got to be a montage.
Yeah,
I want to hear it.
I'm gonna play it.
Play the music.
Shut up.
Music. Come on, hurry!
Do it now.
Yep. Here it goes. It's that button. Hurry, press it. Do it.
Do I not have it?
Maybe his panel is sparking.
Yeah.
Here we go. We had
and then he only gives us a short clip.
Well, that's all I have. We got ourselves a nice little getting ready for battle montage. There you go. That's it. Ready for Clippy Clips?
Clippy Clips. Let's do it.
Clippy Clips.
Here we go. I only got 8. No, wait.
You mean clip?
9. I got 9. Okay, here we go. Clip number 1.
I don't believe this was a fair test of my command abilities.
And why not?
Because there was no way to win.
A no-win situation is a possibility every commander may face. Has that never occurred to you?
No, sir. It is not.
How we deal with death is at least as important as how we deal with life, wouldn't you say?
As I indicated, Admiral, that thought had not occurred to me.
Well, now you have something new to think about, Captain.
Sassy little thing, isn't she?
Yeah. She was mad. Nobody knew her name.
Well, and introducing Kirstie Alley. That was a really weird thing to see.
Yeah, introducing. This is her first film. Yeah. And
Where
there's all
everybody
this.
knew her name.
There's all this weird, like, behind the scenes, whatever, where she was supposed to be, like part Romulan, part Vulcan. So that's why she was like emotional and crying at Spock's death and all that stuff. And but they cut a lot of that out, so it just doesn't really quite make sense as to why she's emotional as she gets in the movie. But Nicholas Meyer's like, whatever. We can do that. All right, here we go. I wanted some yelling Khan, so here's a yelling Khan.
Never told you how Admiral Kirk sent 70 of us into exile in this barren sand heap with only the contents of these cargo bays to sustain us.
You lie! In City Alpha 5 there was life. A fair chance.
This is City Alpha 5!
Yeah. Like a good Khan yell. There we go.
Like a good Conyell. Ricardo is there.
and barely. He was still filming. Fantasy Island.
So can I like go somewhere and get some like Conyell, or maybe some con talk, or some cognac?
Yeah, all of those things I think are true, are real. I think. I don't know. Number 3.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, man, I wish like I was already gonna name this episode just like Hooray 200, but like all of these great jokes are I wish I could name them all.
Why can't you do that?
Right, I've already forgotten so many. They were so good. Okay, number 3.
Would you like a tranquilizer?
I asked that of Sam before every podcast.
Would you like a tranquilizer?
Yeah, okay, so.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud.
I did too. Again, the movie, all the jokes are real subtle in the movie. That's just the way they are, but that's what they wrote back in 1982.
Kind of like this podcast.
Yeah.
It's real subtle.
Real subtle.
About as subtle as a 6'3" black dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Number something, 4, 3, whatever. Yeah.
He tasks me. He tasks me.
Turned them all up.
I'll chase him round the moons of Nibia and round the Antares maelstrom and round perdition's flames before I give him up.
That's right, because I'm obsessed.
Isn't that from Moby Dick?
Part of that is that he tasks.
Cry havoc and let loose the dogs of war. Let's go.
Let's slip the dogs of war. Anyway.
Let's slip the dogs of war.
Here we go. Famous line.
Ah, Kirk, my old friend. Do you know the Klingon proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold? It is very cold in space.
So, great line, but it's kind of anachronistic because he was frozen for 200 years, gets woken up on the Enterprise, and then spent the last 15 years on a desert island. How does he know any Klingon proverbs at all? So, just saying.
He's smart.
He is smart. Maybe he had a book. Maybe there was a Klingon book on that there next
There's
to
a book.
Moby Dick.
Book of Ye Old Klingon Proverbs.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
And Moby Dick.
Yeah, Moby Dick.
Yeah. Well, all the Klingon proverbs came originally from Moby Dick.
They left him one of those daily calendars where you flip off every day.
Yeah.
You know, a new quote would be there.
Yeah, Klingon proverb,
Klingon proverb,
Romulan proverb, Ferengi proverb. Yeah, I like this idea.
Yeah.
So sorry, I want to go back, like not necessarily to the clip, but just going back to the whole idea of Moby Dick. At some point in time, does one of his guys go, "Hey, Captain, Supreme Leader, I don't want to be that guy, but you're really starting to be an Ahab."
Didn't his little blonde boy do that?
Yeah, he tried to. He was like,
well, he would say things, but like he never went on full. Hey, you're being Ahab right now. We should probably just leave him be.
well, I mean, like he said, the Khan said, these men and women have sworn to serve me 200 years before you were born. You know, so that was
With a southern accent.
Yeah, that was a bad version. But
before you were born,
son. So I sound like the Colonel.
The space. You weren't really born in this. You weren't really adopted to space. I was born in there.
Right? Yeah, there you go. And I actually
only
put
when
in.
you freeze it, only when your fingers and breath freezes in the cold reaches of space, then I shall allow you to die.
Right. So yeah, that actually would have been really good.
I should have been in charge of this.
Yeah, you should have. You were, a month
Oh,
old
yeah,
or whatever.
Space Batman.
Because I'm Batman.
Yes. There you go.
Space Batman. No.
All right.
Oh, you gotta spin it.
And Batman shows up.
I think you've lost control, dude.
Oh, I never had control of this show. From episode 3, I think that's when I lost control.
Yeah.
Oh, 3. You're giving yourself way too much credit.
Yeah.
I was going to say the episode you lost control. I would have said it was the rom-com one where Sam and Chad and I spent 20 minutes of the episode saying nothing but rom-com titles.
That's true.
Right. Oh, dude, I totally forgot about that one.
That was as good as it gets.
Was it Drinking Buddies?
Drinking Buddies. Yeah.
Drinking Buddies.
Oh,
yeah.
Drinking Buddies, yeah. No, I thought it was.
We all hated the movie, or
we
most
hated-
of us hated the movie, and
but that one
tried
was
to do something to.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now. That one wasn't my fault. That was from listener Jen, who I don't think listens to the show anymore. But
Oh,
Listens anymore. Yeah.
that's a shame.
anyway, Chad, you are comically close to the camera right now. It's just really funny.
It's way past my bedtime.
Oh yeah. I have used this line before, and so has my dad. Here we go.
Damn
This
it.
is all right. Join the party. Mr. Spock, the ship is yours.
Jim, be careful.
We will.
I love that line. I think that's funny. Here's another little humorous moment.
Go
Where are we going?
where they went.
Suppose they went nowhere.
Then this will be your big chance to get away from it all.
There we go. These are the jokes.
Yeah.
Last
Kirk
one.
is so cavalier with everyone's lives. He's the person that there's no plan. We're just gonna teleport where they went to. It's fine.
Right. Well, and there's another funny. It's kind of a trivia, and I'll get into some trivia in a little bit. But there's the scene where Kirk they're punching the prefix code, and then Kirk says, it's on its way now, Mr. Spock. Like Nicholas Meyer kept doing the line because big shock. William Shatner would overact the scene, and so. They said, so they literally did it so many times that he got bored with repeating the line, and then that's the one that they use. Is like literally a bored William Shatner. They're like, that's the good one, finally. So, anyway. Here we go. This is a little bit of and Sam, you've always, where did Sam go? Oh,
I'm here.
Oh,
You did hit record, right?
do what?
You did hit record, right?
Yeah, you got me freaked out for a second. Like,
We don't want to have a repeat of
Never done that.
what was it? In the Darkness or
no,
Yeah,
Ghost in the Darkness.
Ghost in the
Yes.
Darkness. Is that the one that I lost? I can't remember.
Yes.
No, we actually had one not that long ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where I hit record, but it only recorded their audio and not mine. So I had to go back and play off of what they were saying.
Podcast ever. I'm just kidding.
No, it worked out.
Sorry.
Here's some real good bad Shatner acting.
Kirk, you're still alive, my old friend. Still, old friend. You've managed to kill just about everyone else, but like a poor marksman, you keep missing the target.
Okay, that's bad.
Like he's starting to lose it. You keep missing the target.
And I was going to have to do it, so... Wait, what is this? Oh, never mind. Of course, I captured this. There we go. So now I have that forever. There we go. And this line, again, I know... because I have an emotional attachment to the movie. This freaking get me this time. I actually watched this movie with my son today. I watched this movie with my 5-year-old. The earwig part, I covered his eyes.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
But for the most part, there's
And you tickle his ear.
I did, yeah. I'm like, I gave him a wet willy while it was happening.
You monster.
And so this scene happened, and I started tearing up, and he was like, "Why are you crying, Daddy?" I'm like, "I'm not going to talk about it, son." But
I have been,
Oh.
and always shall be, your friend.
And
voice actor for Batman.
And I used that line at my best friend's
Wedding?
groom's at his wedding. I said it is
Nice.
it is toast. So not ashamed of it at all. Here we go. Shoot,
You didn't do that in mine.
I know, or mine. Jerk.
Okay, I was barely in yours, Sam. I was only in because you needed like fifth guy or whatever, and one of your guys bailed out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
and no, Chad, I didn't use it in yours. I'm sorry. But I did sing Weird Al at your wedding, so.
You did sing Weird Al. That was...
I don't remember that.
That is Sean.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. We have it on video.
Oh, that's when he was doing White and Nerdy.
White and Nerdy.
Yes.
I sang White and Nerdy to a camera like I... Oh, my gosh. I'm a
And
little...
then Drunk Sam was behind him.
Were you really?
And I was the black man for a little bit.
You were the token black guy.
Yeah, that happened.
You know.
I was sitting at a table with my wife behaving myself while everybody else was.
I know, right?
Yeah. The bread.
Shame, really.
And the
All
wine.
the bread. Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah.
So
now
good.
for some more bad news. Ready?
All right, I'm going to cook through some of this trivia as best I can because we're getting a little long here.
Long in the tooth.
I've already mentioned that one. One of Admiral Kirk's antiques is a Commodore PET computer. That was kind of cool.
Yes.
I already said that. Let's see. I already said that one. I forgot how much I actually incorporated into the... Nicholas Meyer admits that Khan's familiarity with Chekhov is a mistake because the Chekhov character had not even been introduced into Star Trek until Season 2, and Space Seed, the show this was based off of, was Season 1. But he defends this by citing that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes, who frequently had trivial errors in his Sherlock Holmes stories, but made no apologies for them. So the director's like, yeah, I screwed up, and I don't really care.
So what?
Yeah, so what? Whatever. It's the Kessel Run in 7 parsecs or 5 parsecs, whatever it is. Like whatever. It's whatever. And
this movie will stand on its own merit.
And the funny thing is that Trek nerds will like try to explain it away.
Would you call them nerds? Turds? Turds?
No.
Nerds.
Turds?
Trek nerds?
Nerds.
Just Trekkies or Trekkers?
Trek nerds?
Depends
Sterds.
on
Sterds.
Sterds? You're such a sturd, Sean. Ugh. It's like a stinky turd? What is that? What would a Star Wars nerd be? A sword?
Swerds.
Swords.
Swords.
It's Sterds and Swerds.
Turds and swords.
Sterds and Swerds and Bergens.
I know, we're starting to sound like Chef.
You're sturdy.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
I like the look on Andrew's face right now.
Moving
This is what I do for fun.
Right.
Oh, he's turned off his microphone. He doesn't want to talk to us anymore.
No, I'm afraid I'll make an awkward noise.
Which is
in this podcast, okay.
Which is usually just him moving his microphone around for whatever reason. He just likes to handle his mic.
Well, I tried to eat everything.
I was trying to get a spit take on Corny. I was trying to.
Oh, you, Sean, you sneaky.
Oh, I was trying to.
Oh, God.
Right?
All over his computer, too.
That would have been great.
Nasty.
All over his. Is that a work computer?
Yeah, it's work.
Nice. I mean, I guess, who would you take that to? Because you're the IT guy. Like, do you put it on your desk and then walk around the other side of the desk and go, what happened? And you walk around and say, well, I spilled beer on it. How'd you do that?
Lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
my son did
helped.
it. Oh, okay. So your son did it. Why was your son with having a beer? I don't know.
We're talking about turds.
We were talking about turds. Yeah. Turds and turds. Actually, that should be the name of the episode. Just gonna say it.
Oh.
I'm gonna be at work. I'm gonna be at work tomorrow. Going
turdies.
Yeah, that's the name of the episode now. By the way. Forget whatever I was gonna say before. Doesn't matter. This is funnier. Where am I? What? Oh, trivia. Sorry. According to the DVD commentary, when Kirk and Spock are walking down the hallway at Starfleet, Shatner was not supposed to look at the maintenance man vacuuming in the hall. Meyer told him to stop, but Shatner kept doing it anyway, because that's what Shatner does.
Shatner's a 4-year-old, apparently.
Yeah, he kind of is. Well, my gosh, you guys, I mean, you've all heard the stories, or maybe you haven't, the stories like when Jordan...
Oh, my God, it's a floor finisher.
Right, yeah. But he was
floor
like...
finisher?
Yeah.
Floor finisher. That's what they call him in the 23rd.
In the 23rd century. Okay, makes sense. But he would ridicule George Takei because they all knew he was gay, but he hadn't come out yet, and he would ridicule him. But Kirk also had respect for him as an actor, and Takei didn't want to do this movie, and he called him personally and said, "Yes, you need to come back and do this movie." So there was a lot of that on this for this movie. Leonard Nimoy didn't want to do it until he read the script. There was a couple of moments like that. I think McCoy was the same way. So anyway, that's it for the trivia. There's a lot of trivia. I mean, way more than I can read, and I didn't want to. But I will say this, and not to your point, Sam, to my point, Sam, about the whole Spock and Kirk's friendship mattering as much as it did. That when they filmed the scene, first of all, they didn't want the secret getting out, so they did they didn't have friends and whatever. It was a closed set when they were filming for those few days. The first time they filmed that shot of Spock dying and they're delivering the lines, the director looked around and noticed that the crew was crying. Sound guys, camera guys, makeup hair people, anyone on set, they're just crying because to them this relationship mattered. It was a thing that they had watched and it mattered. And they're watching these two real friends, because they think while filming this is the end of Star Trek. And so they're crying for the end of what would be, equivalent to Han and Chewie. I mean, when Chewie goes through his little moment in The Force Awakens, it's just a scream, but in that 1.5 second scream is all of the same emotions that we get in this scene. Is just longer. And
I call it my Vegeta scream.
I'll be honest with you, when I watched in the movie theater, when Chewie screamed, it freaking sends chills down my body and I get emotional because it's the same thing. He's just he's lamenting the loss of his friend of a long time, and it's the same thing. So, and that's, for whatever reason, that stuff has always been very powerful for me. I don't know why. Father-son relationships and friendship relationships in movies, that always affects me more than whatever. Like the Chewie-Han relationship affected me way more than any other relationship Han has. Like the Han, Princess Leia relationship, or even Han and Ben at that point. It was the Han and Chewie moment is what wrecked me in The Force Awakens. So anyway, spoiler, I guess, but that movie's 3 years old, so go watch it. Cool, there we go. That's it. Soundtrack great again. I gave it's great. Here we go.
Here we go again.
Mama.
Okay, go.
That's not right. That's the old one. Where's the new one? I don't have the new one. Do I not?
Oh. Suck it, Sean.
I thought I had the new one on my phone.
This looking for music that doesn't exist is brought to you by Audible.com.
Oh my gosh.
Go to Audible.com and get something.
What's supposed to happen?
That's not it either.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
That's the right one. Top 3. We decided to do, as this is our... I know, right? My Lord. There you go. That's just a little bit of Andrew. This is... we hadn't heard from Andrew in a little while. What was that, Andrew?
In the bud, yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
Cornelius!
Sorry. I'm done. Top 3 movies that we discovered because of this podcast that we had not seen previously. The podcast kind of forced us to watch it, and we flippin' loved it. That's just kind of how the way I'm describing it. So, Andrew, your top 3, and I bet $1, not a real dollar, I don't have dollars. I'll bet you fake dollar that three of us are going to have one of the same movies in this. I feel very strongly about that. And even five of us.
I agree.
Maybe.
Just fair.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Usual Suspects.
Was that the first time you'd seen?
No, I'm kidding. That's not.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
I hate that one. But I did learn about it from this podcast, and that movie can rot in hell.
I like Usual Suspects.
I do.
Well, I hate it for other reasons. It's a perfectly fine film, but I hate it for other reasons. So, number 3, I had not seen before, and because it was a part of the show, I learned about The Frighteners. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, The Frighteners.
I was very happy to bring that to you guys.
Oh, yeah. That'd probably be my honorable mention, honestly.
Number 2, Reservoir Dogs, I had heard of but had never seen, and flippin' love it. And then number 1, a movie that I watch frequently just when nothing else is on, and something that cheer me up when I need it, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, man.
If you kill my dog, I swear to God, I'll get really mad.
There it is.
Perfect.
Chad.
To be honest, since I've been dead for so long, I've forgotten a lot of the movies that we've watched. But Andrew brings up some really, really good ones. I really did like The Usual Suspects and Reservoir Dogs. Of course, I was always a fan of Pulp Fiction, so Reservoir Dogs just kind of like fell right into that. I know, right? But Tucker and Dale versus Evil was absolutely hilarious. And so without Ghost in the Darkness was a good one that I had never seen before. Then of course there's Rubber.
You can go straight to hell.
No, I have to admit, because I have the I'm streaming this obviously to Facebook. The gentleman that requested Rubber was in the chat room for a few minutes.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't want to call attention to it because I'm afraid we would all just curse him, but he was here for a few minutes.
Oh, we would.
Awesome.
So that's my list.
Okay. Corny.
You can put it in whatever order you wish.
All right, so my number 3 will also be Tucker and Dale versus Evil, because, damn, we laughed a lot about that. My number 2 is Hot Fuzz. I had not seen it prior to that.
Right.
And holy cow, that was incredibly funny.
Oh, man.
And my number 1, because I expected nothing but stupidity, and I got what was probably the greatest, shortest movie I will ever watch in my life, Kung Fury.
Kung Fury.
Yes.
I forgot about Kung Fury.
That movie had no rhyme or reason, but damn, was it not good.
Oh, that movie was so good. I forgot about Hot Fuzz or Kung Fury.
Yeah.
All right, Sam.
All right, I've got, since they're both kind of the same, I have a tie at number 3 of course, Kung Fury. And I had never seen Kung Fu Hustle until
good.
watching it with you guys. So I appreciated the introduction to both of those. My number
It could have been like Kung Fu Hustle and Fury.
Yeah.
Without a book about that.
I would have been fine with that. Yeah.
The Hustle and Fury? Yeah.
My number 2 movie is a movie I still giggle at when I think about, is The Swiss Army Man.
Oh, yeah.
That is a movie I never would have watched on my own, but because of the podcast, we were introduced to Daniel Radcliffe's many
skills
in the wild.
Yeah.
And then you guys, Tucker and Dale is my number 1.
Yeah.
What the perfect film for this cast.
So far we're batting 1,000 for Tucker and Dale. I love it.
Yeah.
So my
How about you, Sean?
number 1's got to be Tucker and Dale. That movie was great. I forgot about The Frighteners. I should have put that in there. So I'm gonna bump. Well, I'm gonna leave what I have. My number 2 was Hot Fuzz, because again, that movie was great. But number 3, and this might take you guys a little bit by surprise, but Big Trouble in Little China. I had a ball
Really?
with that. That movie was so bad. I had such fun with it.
Son of a bitch must pay.
Son of a bitch must pay.
Yeah, how many of our quotes that we use or little sound bites come from that one movie?
Well, yeah, and I
Got like 3 or 4.
The problem is I couldn't find my phone. I don't have everything on my phone, obviously, but I was really looking for the.
Huh?
No, I have that. That's from Clue.
Oh, that's right. That's from Clue.
Oh no, I know what you mean. You're looking for.
There you go.
That's what you were looking for, and.
Son of a bitch must pay.
Yeah, I have that on my phone. But
love it.
Yeah, I didn't have the other one. I was looking for what was the one you just said? What did Corny Sam you just said? What were your 3?
Kung Fu Hustle?
No.
The movie or the quote?
Your 3, yeah. No, not Kung Fury. There was one I've been looking.
Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, not that one either. Okay, maybe it was one of Corny's. No. Yeah, Hot Fuzz. I've been looking for By the Power of Grayskull, but I don't have it. Grayskull. Yeah, I wish I had it, but I don't. Anyway.
I'm surprised nobody mentioned Iron Sky, but that one's a good one too.
Do what? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, forgot about that one.
That would be my honorable mention.
Say it again.
Iron Sky.
Oh, Iron Sky. Yeah.
Nazis on the moon.
It's a terrible movie, but it's fun.
Yeah, I had a good time doing the. Did we live view that one? I can't remember if we did or not. I think we did.
I don't think.
No, not that one.
Twice.
That was the
we ended up
100th episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, cool. That was fun. Little memory lane moment there. Time for this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
That's where you give us your out of 10, your score from 0 to 10. Chad, you get a score, but it doesn't count because I don't have a spot for you. So, Andrew.
Well, I can fix that.
Well, I guess you can if you really want to.
I'm not going to now. I don't want to.
He doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't. Does he know how?
You are mean.
You know what? For that, if you're going to give me a spot, Corny, make sure this happens. I'm going to give it a 1.
That's fine.
Just to skew it.
That's fine. You have every right to do whatever you want to do. because the category...
Evil Chad has come back. I love it.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's past his bedtime. He's turning into a douche. So
that's right.
It used to be like 1 o'clock.
Yeah, no, in college it was 2.
It's now 11.
It was 2
When
a.m.
you have kids, it gets earlier and earlier.
Yeah, in college it was 2 a.m. Now it's 11 p.m. I love it. Andrew.
All right. Like I said, I'm not a Star Trek fan, but of all the ones that I've seen, this is one of the better ones, I think. So I'm going to give this we'll say 7.5 man boobs out of 10.
I'm giggling because Corny is actively editing the spreadsheet right now. And so now the list includes Evil Chad, Andrew, Corny, Sam, and Sean.
There you go.
Nice.
Did you extend the formula over, Corny?
Yeah, it should.
Oh, you've already put a 1 in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and put a 1 for every one of them that I haven't seen yet.
No, I'm not doing that.
Done.
Thanks. Just a simple click and drag.
No, I'm not doing that.
Can't stop me. I guess you could.
Yes, I can.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, it didn't work. Okay, fine. I'm not going back and re-editing anything. All right, Corny.
I'm actually I'm going to give this an 8.1 because I forgot how much I enjoyed this movie.
Cool. All right, I'm with you, Sam.
Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, not to be evil Sam, but it's not a bad movie, but it's not a real good movie in my mind. I'd probably get a 5.483.
Okay. So you like this just barely over the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
And just over Superbad.
See, I don't know. I'd drop it below Superbad, but
okay.
I'll stand by it.
All right. You're going to stand by it. Chad, do you want to give an actual number, or are you just going to stay with 1?
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
7 7 of all the points I've ever known, this one was the most
point yet. No.
Human.
There it is. I was waiting for it. We were all waiting with bated breath. Okay.
Huge.
You like that, Corny?
The most.
Hey, don't correct my typos, Corny. He's in here correcting my typos. I'm giving it a 9.5 because I love this movie, and it's a
very well.
It's a wonderful film. It's not a flawless film, but I think it's a perfect movie. I think there are very few perfect movies. Die Hard, I always use an example as a perfect movie. I think this is a perfect movie. And Sam, don't think you're evil for having a dislike of a movie. It's fine. There are a lot of good people that we know that didn't like The Last Jedi, and you and I both loved that movie. So whatever.
And those people are wrong. So
yeah.
That's true. It can be wrong.
Those are also the people that like 50 Shades Freed, though. So
that's true.
Sam also gave Birdemic a 0.25, so we can't trust him.
I'm still mad at Sam.
Oh, I can't get that time back in my life.
You're the one who made us do it, so it's your fault.
Hey, it was a Halloween thing.
Oh God, it was a bad thing, is what it was.
Hey, y'all remember Poultrygeist?
Oh,
Poultrygeist. Yeah, I love Poultrygeist.
That was good times. That was some good times. Thanks, AOL Jeff, for that.
Oh yeah, is that AOL Jeff's responsibility?
Oh yeah, no.
I'm sure he just got the episode.
He actually submitted a request for our thing. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. How did you rig this, Sean, to have us watch a Star Trek episode?
I didn't.
For
I put Corny and Andrew were there. I mean, I put them in a list, and I did it on air live. I said, Siri, pick a number between 1 and 11, and she picked 9. So
wow,
I did it on air. So I tried to be as fair about it as I could, honestly.
Sure. I mean, who knows if you told Siri, hey, Siri, if I ever ask you for a number between 1 and 11, you always have to pick 9, okay? Yeah, Sean, I will do that for you.
Oh, I wonder if I could actually get her to do that. That'd be pretty funny.
Siri does a lot of things that I'm not really okay with. So. Would you like heroin? Siri, no.
That's really funny. I'm going to ask her if I can do that. Hey Siri, if I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 11, will you tell me to pick the number 9?
This silence brought to you by Apple.
Here's what I found on the web for if I ask you to pick a number between
come
1 and 11. Number 9.
Oh, lame. Oh, whatever. Okay. So look, clearly I can't rig it. So
okay, sure. Maybe before you were like, "Hey Siri, if I ever ask you again to only, you're gonna have to go to the web for that, okay?"
But we
but
had.
Of course, Sean, I will be a British servant to do whatever you say.
I do have it set to male British because I call it Jarvis sometimes.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Does it answer to Jarvis?
Can I call you Jarvis?
Yes.
Hold on, it's coming. It's a
sigh. I think that guy cheated off my exam in our intelligent assistant finals.
That's the first time. That's new. All right. Nice.
Ask if you can call it Cortana.
No.
Oh.
Ooh.
I guess
she is a whore.
Can I call you Cortana? That's actually interesting. See what she says. Or he says.
I'm afraid not. I'm pretty comfortable with my identity.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So I was at the Mall of America.
Okay, we could do Siri all night.
Yeah, I was at Mall of America a few weeks
That's
ago.
what she said.
And
yeah, I know what you mean.
So there's an Apple store, right, in Mall of America. Of course there's an Apple store, right? But literally across the store is the Microsoft store. Like across the hall, and they look exactly the same. it's like the Microsoft guy was like, hey, you know how Apple stores all have white floors and white walls and a big glass entranceway? Let's do that, but we'll put the Windows logo on everything, or the Microsoft logo on everything. And instead of only having phones and watches and iPads, we'll have our phones, watches, and tablets and Xboxes that people can play.
And Zunes.
And Zunes, yeah.
Just a picture of Obama and there listening to a Zoom.
So I went into. So we went over to the Microsoft store, and I asked the guys. I was like, "Hey, do you guys ever get into like wars with the Apple people?" And the guy looked at me like I was asking some aggressive question. I'm like, like get some Nerf guns and go like raid the store one day, like, and put put on all of the bullets, right? Like Apple sucks, or Microsoft rule, like something like that, right? And the guy looked at me and goes, "That's actually really funny." I'm like, "Yeah, you should totally do that. It'll be hysterical." So anyway,
they burst in with masks and Nerf guns. Everybody on the floor.
Well, I mean, I don't mean like that, but I mean it'd still be pretty funny.
Joke.
It'd be funny. All right.
Give me your iPhone, lady.
Oh my gosh, this has been fun. All right. I have nothing else to say. This has been episode 200. We live streamed it. This was a lot of fun. I guess the video will be up for a little while. Maybe I'll find a way I can save it and archive it and keep it, and maybe I'll upload it to YouTube.
You can just post it to your to the page. It'll stay.
Oh yeah, cool. I'll do that. Because it's been kind of fun.
Chad, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, Chad. I appreciate that.
Well, I only get to come back once
Okay, hang
every
in there,
10
Chad.
years.
Literally can't understand what you're saying. Move your microphone away from your mouth.
Yeah, his soul is slowly leaving his body through his microphone, apparently.
All right.
This is over here from your Chad.
Over the microphone. Couldn't understand what I was saying. Stan has my good microphone.
Well, you shouldn't have given it up when you quit the podcast. What?
Oh, shots fired. Kill him. Oh, Joe Pesci. Shit, we almost forgot.
Oh, we almost forgot. I'm actually surprised there wasn't like one of those casting things on the trivia of like Joe Pesci and blah 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 and blah 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 blah. We're all up for the nomination of blah blah blah. So, or not nomination, but like all for the role of Savick. I don't know. That would have been weird.
Yeah, Captain. I
will say this that
Danny
I didn't mention.
DeVito would have been a great Spock.
I didn't. Who? What?
What?
What did you say?
Danny DeVito would have been a great
Oh,
Spock.
Danny DeVito. For some reason, I heard Channing Tatum. Like,
No.
Okay.
Speaking of which, I started watching Logan Lucky, and I am pleased.
Okay.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
It's got my name in it, so it's pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. When they come out with Cornelius
Logan.
Lucky, you have to watch that one too.
Cornelius.
Anyway, cool. Well, that's our show. Gosh, yeah. Thanks, Chad, for coming back, participate. It was a lot of fun.
Glad to be here. For now,
I had a lot of fun doing this live stream. A couple people kind of participated a little bit. That was kind of neat.
Tell them to F off. I'm just kidding. Don't.
No, that. But that's it. I would say visit our website, but it's down. Maybe forever. I don't know.
Back yet?
No, I think
get down.
I think it's gone. No, his website is back up. Oh, cool.
It's back up. Yeah.
Oh, well, neat. Weird. Okay.
Well, I took a pill and it's back.
Oh, okay. Weird.
Back up.
The website's back up. Cool. Cheapseatreviews.com is our website where you can see old episodes and up to episode 185. Facebook.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah. God, am I 15 behind now?
Yeah. You've been out of town and you're busy. I get it. Like us on Facebook.com/CheapseatReviews. Twitter is @CheapseatCast. And of course, your emails are cheapseatreviews@gmail.com. Leave us a review, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. I think there's a way we can put our show on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio too, which is also pretty cool. We're kind of all over the place, which is really neat. So, and I did get an email from someone who wants to put our podcast on some kind of podcast search engine called Listen Notes. Never heard of it, but maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
Do they want money?
No, they don't.
It's a porn thing.
Oh, dang. Well, never mind. So anyway,
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Gosh, so on behalf of Chad, Corny, Andrew, Sam, thank you guys so much for listening. And we'll see you next time. And I also totally forgot to tell you that next week we're doing The Circle with not that The Circle with every week with my phone.
The Circle.
The Circle with Emma Watson and Tom Hanks. So there you go. That's our show.